Hi, this is Devin. This is my devlog. It's January 7th. And yeah, let me just go over what I've learned. If you're expecting to learn something from this video, like a tutorial, I would suggest watching something else. This is more so kind of like an online diary on my game development experience. So today I will be discussing on what I've learned from Legion Games first person tutorial. If you do want a tutorial, I recommend watching that one. It was actually very informative, very practical, and let me learn a lot of things. Main thing I want to start off is right-click WASD. Very, very useful tool for navigation. I was kind of just using shift middle click and right-click dragging. Would have been way more convenient if I just knew right-click WASD, and also EQ for up and down. I don't remember off the top of my head which one's up, which one's down. I just kind of press one of them, and if it goes the direction I want to, great. If not, press the other one. That's something that Legion Games introduced was CSBs, or constructive solid boxes. They're really good for making quick, dirty platforms and stuff to test with. Apparently not really good for development, mainly because they're very poor in performance. My guess is because since it's not a compiled shape, has to kind of compile the shape during runtime, and it has to do it every frame, so I would imagine that would be really bad on performance. But again, that's my guess. I am not 100% sure. All I know is that Godot document recommends this exclusively for testing. One thing I do want to look into is trying to find if I can change an object's origin for the floor, because an issue I'm having with some objects is I'm trying to snap them to the floor, and by doing so, I am just kind of pinning the object through the plane that I'm just trying to test on. So if I put a cube in the scene and I snap it to the floor, half of it's going to be pierced through my little footing. So got to look into how to change that. Cameras. I learned a bit about cameras, mainly pivots. I didn't really take this in consideration because I just kind of slapped it into the character model. Apparently not that great. You need a pivot. It's kind of similar to a neck. If you want to do Y movement, looking up and down, you need to have a pivot, because if you don't, then your whole character model is going to move up with you, and that's going to cause a lot of jank. X and Z looking, or along the XZ plane, not really needed, because you can kind of just turn your whole body, and in fact, you want to turn the body while moving the camera, because that's what most people are used to. And also, another important thing, you need to change the velocity direction based off of where the camera's looking, because otherwise you'll look one direction and you'll walk another, and that is very confusing, and you need to implement that into your code, or else you will have very disorienting gameplay. One thing I was wondering during the tutorial is why the hell am I putting everything in the physics process section, except for like a few repeating lines of code. And I looked into it, very surface level. On in-game intervals aren't related to FPS. It will perform these checks. So say your game is running at 30 FPS, it'll do the same amount of checks as a game would with 90 FPS. It does not occur in the process function, where it will check every frame. So if you do anything with physics, like moving around, falling, jumping, anything, putting it in the physics process. It's kind of self-explanatory. But yeah, I just was wondering that, and now I got an answer. One of the last things I was actually very interested in is interpolation, or LERP specifically in this, which stands for linear interpolation. It causes a lot of smoothing effects. Walking, looking, falling, jumping feel a lot better. And I was wondering why. So looking into the code, or not the code, documentation, interpolation takes the starting point into and adjusts the starting point based off the interpolation. So say we have starting point A and then starting point B. If we set A to the interpolation of A and B with weight value between 1 and 0, then adjust that and then call that frame over and over again, we're just going to essentially keep dividing in the same amount of times, but the space is going to keep changing. So the steps are going to keep changing. So if you get closer, steps are a lot shorter. If you get farther, steps are longer. It's like needing to take 5 steps to a location. However, depending on how far the location is, your strides are going to be different. So it's very interesting. Made me wonder, if your destination doesn't move, you're constantly adjusting your starting location based off your interpolation. If you're basing point A and setting your starting location to point A, do you ever really reach your destination? Because it kind of seems like a logarithmic where you're ever so approaching destination B, but you're never actually reaching destination B because it's slowly dividing up all the way over there. But I mean, I'm guessing computers just round when it gets really like unnecessary. It's just interesting to think about. So I got basic movement going on. I'm most likely going to adjust this in the future to fit my style of game. Main thing I don't like is the sway, because I'm going to try to do an FPS bullet hell game, and accuracy matters a lot. So having this bobbing will make your shots way less accurate and probably very inconvenient. And next up will be picking up, throwing, and dropping. So hopefully that works out well. I was attempting it earlier today. I don't know. Not clicking yet. I'm hoping in 2 weeks it'll click. All right. That's it.